My name's Artemis, and I think it is debate time. You see, there has been a lot of discussion flying around lately about whether or not dealers should get priority when it comes to main hotel spots at furry conventions, and everyone's got a strong opinion about that, so I thought, fuck it. Why don't we look at both sides of that argument and see if there's a productive way forward? Which one has merit, which ones perhaps don't, and where everybody stands. Sounds like a rather fun idea, so fuck it. Let's debate. First, going to start off looking at the reasons why, yes, dealers should get priority when it comes to the main hotel spots at a furry convention, of which those opinions are actually quite shared amongst a lot of the Twitter comments that I was getting. Here's some of them flashing up on the screen, hopefully. Did I remember to edit those in? Who knows? Apparently I did. Fantastic. First and foremost, the Dealer's Den is obviously a very big part of the furry convention experience. It is a good revenue booster. It is one of the only places, perhaps, that some people in the furry fandom can actually browse and get some of these things that they want to buy. You get people traveling across various countries, which means you can avoid things such as customs charges and heavy shipping fees. And overall, it is one of those hotly contested areas. It's where everyone's wanting to get in first. There are art commission spots that people want to snap up. People even want to go and commission full suits, for God's sake. That happens at cons. There are raffles, pin badges, so much going on that it is a very big attractor of a convention. In fact, I would go so far as to say that a real furry convention could not be without one. And of course, to have a dealer's den like this, you need people to actually run it, people to set up those stalls, and people to actually sit there all day, giving up time at that convention just to serve you, which, having some experience working in retail, oh boy, they're really fucking putting themselves in the fire. Now, obviously, when people are giving up their free time like that, they do deserve some sort of lenience, I suppose, some sort of advantage, because at the end of the day, they're not going to the con always purely to enjoy themselves. They are going to be working, which means they are not essentially going for the same reasons everybody else is. There is also the point that conventions use their dealer's den as selling points, and by that I mean that early access to a dealer's den is often part of a sponsorship tier, therefore it's bringing in more revenue for the con. So yeah, maybe you could easily argue that if you're going to advertise your convention and your higher sponsorship tiers with early access to this den, you might want to actually take care of the people that are allowing you to do that. And of course, there are practical reasons as well. Now, yes, you are going to get people who are going to go there and give out digital art commissions, and they're only really going to need some space to draw with a tablet, or even if they're doing traditional, they might just need a table and some breathing room. And obviously, that's not going to take as much space as perhaps a fursuit maker or a merchandise maker or someone who just generally has a lot of gear to set up and supply with. Now, some conventions are better situated for overflow hotels. I know from experience that MFF, if you're in one of the overflow hotels as a dealer, it's actually better for you than the main hotel because it's easier to get to where the dealer's den is. But some conventions are not so fortunate in their site planning like that, and their layout of where their accommodation is, and therefore having to drag massive cases, or even more than that, actual giant carts full of stock to and from a convention is going to be pretty difficult. A lot of this is a cash-based business as well, so you have security risks. Like, do you really want to be walking between hotels carrying what could end up being thousands of pounds based on your sales without really any protection? I mean, that does put you quite at risk. It is a little bit unfair to be asking people to do that. And speaking of security concerns, you also have the security of the den. I mean, if people are going to come in on, say, day one, set up and just leave stuff there, how are they really going to be able to, feel secure that their stock isn't going to go missing, isn't going to get damaged? Is the con going to be able to supply adequate protection for that room? I mean, some furry conventions bring in thousands and thousands of people, and unfortunately, not all of those have the best intentions. So is it really something that's going to entice someone in if they have to stay off-site whilst a lot of their, livelihood is sat in a room potentially not as protected as they might like it to be? And of course, on the back of that argument, we have the reasons why no, they should not be given priority. Right off the bat, we're going to go with registrations should be fair and equal to everybody. You are all going to the same place, so therefore, why should any one person get more priority than anyone else? At the end of the day, being a dealer is not something that you have to do. It is not something you are forced to do. It is something that you are asking to do. Therefore, you are asking to put yourself out. You are willingly taking up your own time to go and do this thing. There's a lot of other people that are going to be doing similar things, such as those who run events. Now, one can argue that this priority could be given out to so many different people for so many different reasons. And when you have a priority like this, it could be argued that perhaps there might always be people looking to abuse it. It is entirely possible that somebody could, in fact, take up a spot as a dealer and then have someone else run their stall. You could have one person or two people that run a stall, but they get other people in as their helpers, and therefore they're taking up more spots than they really should. Now, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm not saying that this is a reason why perhaps this should not ever happen. I'm just pointing out it is a possibility. I get fucking butthurt because I'm saying that something could happen. Unfortunately, we do have a history of people exploiting kindness in this fandom, and I feel like maybe this could potentially be one of those areas. You do also have practicality reasons with such things. Now, some conventions, as I said, have plenty of overflow hotel space, plenty of areas to put people, and that is a-okay. But let's take Confuzzled, for instance. It's basically in the biggest position it can really get to in this country. We don't have bigger facilities or hotels than what we currently have for Confuzzled. Now, if you start taking up free hotel space for people like dealers and staff and whatnot, which, hey, everybody has a right to decide how they run their con, that does then limit the amount of space that you can give to actual paying attendees. Not that the dealers are not paying, obviously. So you have to sometimes think maybe there needs to be a sort of balance there. I mean, there is a finite amount of space that you can offer people. And finally, this is also potentially elitist. Everybody's looking for an excuse in this fandom sometimes to get butthurt and offended, but hey, that's the only way that they can get positive attention in their life, then more power to them, as long as they keep it away from everything else. But it does almost foster an us versus them mentality, which this fandom already struggles with when it comes to the so-called Popufurs and other people. And people who generally think, oh, they're more famous and popular than I am, so everybody treats them better. Well, this would be a very difficult one to mitigate, considering, yes, these dealers are often high-level artists that we all, as a fandom, support and appreciate, and yes, they would be getting priority. Yes, it is for just reasons. Yes, it would help them in a con, and yes, having more dealers at a convention is another reason that people would want to go. It is an enticement point. But there's still going to be some whiny little dickheads bitching and moaning, causing trouble for that convention. So we've now gone through the arguments for and against. I am just going to say that I just took all of this from Twitter, basically. I had a look at the general opinion of people speaking about this subject on Twitter. There were a fair amount of people on both sides of the fence, and of course I made my own little tweet asking for people's opinions, and that's where I got a lot of this from, okay? Please don't get butthurt just because I fucking said something. Shit happens. If you get offended, sounds like your fucking problem, okay? But those are the points for and against dealers getting priority. So what could we do potentially moving forward? What are some potential solutions? Well, hello, here I am to hopefully list some. The first and most easiest one to implement would be a specific dealer's block in the hotel room area. That this is literally just for dealers and we keep it separate from main registration. Therefore, we know, right, we got enough to fill up the tables, that's fine. You guys, you know, once you apply to be a dealer, we put you in a system and yeah, then people get their rooms in the main hotel. That is, I think, a decent little solution, potentially, if you have the space. Obviously, certain smaller conventions might find it easier and or harder, but that would, in effect, work. It gives them the priority and helps them actually staff this con. You could potentially have a pre-registration for dealers before the main registration happens. Now, if you want to go down the route of, nope, it's first come, first serve, everybody's fair, I do recognise that some of the issues dealers had this Confuzzled was that they were signing up for Dealer's Den at the same time they were signing up for main registration. That takes more time, and in a first come, first serve basis, that is a massive disadvantage. So if you said, okay, a month before registration, Dealer's Den. If you want to do the Dealer's Den, please apply. We will give you a badge number that we need you to quote on your main registration, and then after main registration, whether you're successful or not, we can confirm or not your Dealer's Den spot. That way, when it comes to the main registration for the main con experience, they're all on a level playing field as well. They don't need to worry about, oh God, I've got to fill out an extra form. That way, this whole fair and equal, first come, first serve, is actually fair and equal. Practical reasons could be that you could even have storage areas for them, so have a dedicated secure area for them to keep their stuff that is nice and safe. You could even say, okay, I'm really sorry that you aren't in the main hotel, but why don't you bring all of your stuff as soon as you arrive? We will lock it in the den, and then you're free to come and of course set it up at your leisure. Now, it's not going to be the best idea, obviously, because it's still going to have a lot of trust given over by those dealers, but it is quite a nice concession by convention staff that it's okay, no, you don't have to keep carting your stuff to and from your overflow hotel. It's obviously not the best in the world for the people going through it, but hey, it's something. It's something. So there we have it. That's some for and against arguments and, of course, some potential solutions. I'm not going to go into great detail about what my opinion is because I'm sure someone's going to disagree with it. Hey, it is the internet. But honestly, yeah, if someone's helping out with the convention to a very serious degree, such as giving up most of their convention time to be a dealer and run that table, then yeah, honestly, we should take care of them a little bit more. I understand it's going to be difficult logistics-wise, and it's going to be difficult in terms of, but I want a main hotel spot. It's my first convention. Whiny little shitheads, but at the end of the day, everybody wants you to treat your business as a business until you actually treat it as a business, and then suddenly you've sold out. So you can't please everyone. Maybe just think about the ones that matter. Maybe, just maybe, some of the dealers matter a little bit more than some of the whiny shitheads who only really care about getting what they want. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to go and enjoy a Dealer's Den, and I am going to enjoy the fact that hopefully some of them had a little bit of an easier ride than I did, because at the end of the day, all I'm doing is going to enjoy. Let me put it this way. Just a little example here. If I'm queuing up for, say, a roller coaster, I don't expect the person who's having to operate that roller coaster to be queued up behind me, okay? Just putting it out there. Hopefully everybody got something out of this video. Maybe somebody even enjoyed it. Who knows? But thanks for watching. I enjoy reading these comments, which I'm sure will be on fire. At least until Copper takes them all away. Bye!